Hello guys, so here I'm back again on another Escalation Tier 10 video. This time I'll be playing ViewPoint Museum. Let me show you my build real quick. I'm using 4-piece striker, all pieces with echo, critical hit damage, along with the backpack and the chest piece. I'm using Exodus Lock because these things are great for solo play. And chest can nippats with echo and almost got roll DPS stats. I'm using double MK46, both weapons with echo, critical hit chance, and frenzy. That way I can deal with the variety pack debuff. That's the second weapon. And I'm also using Quickstep, Reviver Hype, Decoy, and the Gunner Specialization. For my seasonal modifier, already have it maxed out, I'm using the Invincible Active modifier and the Munitions Belt, Contagion, and Surge Drive passive modifiers. And for my stats, here are the sources for all of my stats. There's a critical hit chance, 186.3% critical hit damage, and a sum of 201.5% all weapon damage plus LMG damage. Let's start with the mission. So, Viewpoint Museum, it's not a hard mission as the rest of the weekly escalation rotation pool, but it's not as easy as either of the Coney Island missions or the Potomac Event Center mission for that matter. But it's still a mission with a decent amount of enemies, like there's around 100 NPCs throughout the mission. So for this beginning encounter, we can drop a decoy right on the entrance and just stay behind one of those pieces of cover, either by the car, or from the other side. And right as we are getting inside the Viewpoint Museum itself, we're gonna get a second enemy wave to spawn from the left side. So we can just take cover behind one of these news vans, and that should be enough cover to spawn kill most of the enemies. Now just gotta watch out for the flanks, by the way. Like in here, you can get flanked from both sides, and from the entrance, there's a place where enemies can climb down from the left side, if I remember correctly. So anyways, after the two enemy waves, we can continue along with the mission. And for Viewpoint Museum in particular, we have 5 gear crates that we can find throughout the mission. Although I have seen reports that one of the gear crates can sometimes get bugged out and you won't be able to access it. At least that's what I saw from one of J-Croc's videos. Shout out to them for the info. So there's the first gear crate. Now right behind the door to my right, there's a second gear crate, but we have to open the door first. Before opening the door, we're gonna deal with the enemies inside this room. We're gonna drop a decoy right in the middle, and we're gonna stay in this position to deal with all of the enemies. There's gonna be one enemy wave right on the middle, and all of the enemies are gonna be spawning from the door to the right on the back of the room. We can spawn kill them as they're coming out without too much of an issue. Every time we kill around 2 or 3 enemies, we're gonna get a new enemy wave to spawn. They can either spawn from that door, and I believe there's another door right under the stairs on the corner of the room, right where the shotgunner was rushing. So yeah, there's around 4 or 5 enemy waves that we have to deal in this room before we can continue along with the mission. So just stay over here, try to move frequently, and you won't get electrocuted by the modifier. So anyways, to open the second gear crate door, we're gonna shoot that yellow box over there. As I said, there has been reports that sometimes the yellow crate doesn't spawn. This time, at least for all my runs, the yellow crate always spawn. That's the second gear crate. And right as we finish up, we are gonna fill our ammo because we almost certainly we're gonna run out of ammo by that point. And yeah, my usual advice for my double LMG strategy, every time you get one kill with one of the LMGs, always switch to the second LMG as you run out of ammo. That way we can reset the kill counters from variety pack and keep our DPS as high as possible. You can also use your pistol or gun or LMG to kill the enemies. That's the third gear crate over there. And we can continue along with the mission. At the end of this hallway, you're gonna find 2 enemies. If the enemies are reds, then you can use something like the gunner weapon to kill them. Right as we're getting close to the door, we're gonna get the first enemy wave to spawn on the elevator. We're gonna drop a decoy right over here just to grab the attention for all the enemy waves that are gonna be spawning. And we're gonna stay right over here to deal with the enemies. Now this is the first time that I actually got a grenade launcher guy to spawn on this room. So just be careful with that. You can always shoot them on the backpack to be able to deal with the armor on their chest and deal the most damage to them without having to waste that many bullets. And right as we kill the 3 enemies in this room, we should be able to continue along with the mission. We're gonna open this door. And there's an armor plate box on our left, but I won't be grabbing it. Right as we get inside and the EMP destroys most of the electronics, we are gonna drop a decoy right in front of us and we're gonna deal with the first enemy wave, which is gonna be spawning right in front of us. We just gotta be careful with our distance because sometimes the enemies will try to focus us instead of the decoy because of how close we are to them. So be careful with that. And in this room, the enemy waves will be spawning as we pass certain thresholds. So in this case, the next enemy wave will be spawning right as we get on top of that pair of stairs. I'm gonna spawn those enemies and they're gonna be spawning right on the back of the room at the end of this little hallway. Let's wait for that guy to move along. And right as he moves towards a more decent spot, we're gonna spawn the next wave of enemies right behind the sign on that door over there. And right as we kill one of the enemies from that wave, we're gonna get more enemies to spawn from that door over there. 2 more. Those should be the last enemies in this room. There you go. Now we just try to grab some ammo, grab the gear, and continue along with the mission. Now on this next part, first we're gonna find the 4 gear crate on this little room on our right. There's the gear crate. And for this section right here, I suggest that you fill out your LMG ammo because you will run out of LMG ammo during the fight. So we're gonna empty out both of our weapons. And right as we empty both of the weapons, we are going to open the door and continue along with the mission. So here's the strat. The little piece of cover that I saw right as I opened the door, that's gonna be the place where we're gonna hunker down and kill all of the enemies. After we drop a little decoy on the left side, we are gonna start killing the enemies from over here. There's gonna be around 4 or 5 enemy waves that we have to deal in this site. The first enemy wave, after we kill most of the enemies from the first enemy wave, the second one is going to spawn on the upper floor on the back of the room. We have to take care of both our left and right hallways because those places we can get flanked by the enemies. As we kill all the enemies on the second wave, the third wave is going to spawn again on the upper floor. They usually like to run towards the middle and start coming from that pair of stairs. That enemy wave is always going to have 2 yellow sniper enemies, so we gotta be careful on suppressing them so that we don't get shot from this place right over here, and we're gonna deal with most of the enemies right as we bait the shot from the snipers. But again, if we suppress them, they're not going to be that much of an issue. We can also try to run back towards the back of the room, but I don't like to do that strat. It's way too much of a distance that we have to cover, and the 4 enemy wave, as you already saw, they like to spawn from the back of the room, from the lower floor. So be careful with that. Eventually the enemies would like to just push you, like the sniper enemies, so we can just wait for them to come to us and kill them. And right as we kill most of the enemies from the 4 enemy wave, we're gonna get, if I saw correctly, one last enemy wave of mostly red enemies. That cover to cover, well, that dive move was absolutely horrible. I almost got down from that shotgun guy. So anyways, as I said, this is a pretty solid spot to just stay. We can wait for the enemies to either push us or we can shoot them from over here. Even the enemies that may be on the second hallway, the center hallway on the upper floor, we usually have enough angles to be able to shoot at them without having to worry that those enemies may be able to shoot us back. We can also suppress them, or we can cut line of sight with the helicopter that's hanging on the ceiling. So anyways, that should be the last enemy right over there, so I'm gonna focus on killing them. I don't want to waste my high quality ammo, so I'm gonna kill them with the sight gun. There you go. We're gonna grab our LMG ammo and we're gonna continue along with the mission. Luckily, we don't need full LMG ammo, at least just yet. So don't get too stressed if you have like 500 LMG ammo, you should be more than okay for next room. Gonna ignore the ammo box. Now, right as we reach the production studio to the left, right after we jump through that piece of cover, we're gonna find gear crate number 5. That's the last gear crate in this mission. Now, during this little scripted scene, I'm gonna be destroying some prototype stuff. It's not a long scripted scene, but I wanted to just mark some things as junk. And right as we climb this pair of stairs, we have to look towards the right because usually enemies like to spawn on that little hallway over there. If there's any enemies right there, we're gonna prioritize them. We can also run towards the little door that's open on that hallway, and that's a decent piece of cover where we can shoot the enemies from a safe spot. And after we kill those enemies on the hallway, in that hypothetical situation, we can then start shooting at the enemies on the east side of the room. We're gonna stay on the upper floor because this side has the best is the best vantage point to kill the first enemy waves. That should be the last enemy, and there you go. Now for this next part, if your DPS build is not that optimized, I suggest that you fill out your ammo, but if the DPS build is a lot more broken like mine, then we can interact with the laptop right away. We're gonna drop a piece of decoy behind one of those pieces of cover, and we're gonna be fighting right from this spot. Now we have to protect one objective, and as usual with these objectives on escalation missions, if the enemies lose line of sight from us, especially when we proc Exodus, it's very likely that the enemy will start prioritizing the objective that we have to protect. So it's very important that we set a decoy so that we don't get the control module to get destroyed. Also, one nice thing about that piece of cover, as you already saw, is that one of the pieces of cover is actually like one piece of cover that you can shoot through, but the enemies won't try to shoot through that piece of cover. It's like a piece of cloth, like to the left side of that TV that I saw. So it's a really good place in case enemies get too close towards the laptop, for example. And you've just gotta be careful with the flanks, especially for enemies that may be coming from the floor above you, as you already saw a few seconds ago, where I got bonked by one of the enemies. After we kill all the enemies from those, I believe there's 3 enemy waves, we are gonna complete the objective and we can continue along towards the final room of ViewPoint Museum. The elevator is on the upper floor, so we're gonna run straight to it. And after that little scripted dialogue, we can enter the elevator. Again, if your DPS build is not that optimized, I suggest that you fill out your ammo. If your build is already optimized enough, you can ignore this thing and try to fight with around 6 to 700 LMG ammo. I didn't do that on purpose. So anyways, for this season, for this fight, I prefer to deal with all of the enemy waves that I can during the 3-minute time window that we have to kill, destroy the 3 jammers. Now, the first jammer is pretty easy to destroy, like it's pretty much sitting right in the middle of the room without any piece of cover. But the other 2 jammers are in some pretty weird spots. So what I suggest to you guys to do is we deal with the first 2 enemy waves that we're gonna be getting in this room. Right after you kill the 2 enemy waves, we can destroy one of the EMP jammers in a more relaxed manner. So that was the last enemy. I'm gonna grab some LMG ammo because I'm running low. And I suggest that for your second EMP jammer, you destroy the one that's right on the back of the room, on the west side. Now, unfortunately, you have to run all the way to the bottom of the stairs to be able to destroy it. The developers were pretty clever in how they positioned the invisible walls in this room. And right as you destroy each of the jammers, you're gonna get, I don't remember if it is 1 or 2 enemy waves. They usually like to spawn inside of the little cafe area, the indoors area. So pretty much we have to use the outdoors as our safe spots. Either the sides with the umbrellas, where we can usually switch between multiple pieces of cover so that we can fight the enemies and don't get cover. I'm sorry, it's a little bit late. I'm stumbling my words. We don't get surrounded by the enemies. Or we can go back towards the beginning hallway and just sit right where we started this encounter. So anyways, right as we destroy the last TMP, the boss is now going to spawn. He's going to be a heli LMG guy. Now, I do suggest that you destroy the backpack for that enemy, but don't try to focus on him, because it's very likely there's going to be an enemy that's going to heal the armor of the enemies, and is going to bring back all of the armor for the boss, which is what just happened right there. So, it was a little bit frustrating to get that during this run, but it's a good example on what not to do with the current mutator pool that we have for this season. So now I have to use the lower strat, which is to kill all of the NPCs, then deal with the boss, and then deal with the second enemy wave right as the boss health drops to half of his armor. Or a little bit less of half of his armor. The second enemy wave just spawned. Luckily, the boss is so far away from the enemies that I was able to just focus on them and don't have to worry about the healing mutator. We're gonna kill this guy. And with that, we should be able to kill the boss pretty easily. I really want to deal with that guy. I don't want the boss to recover all of his armor. I was pretty lucky that didn't happen. Now after you kill the boss, you're gonna get one last enemy wave that we have to take care of. That's the third enemy wave. I like to call it the boss wave. And after you kill all of the enemies, we are going to complete ViewPoint Museum. Make sure that if you're leveling up one of the augments for your weapons, make sure that you equip it, that you have it on your hands. Right after we get the escalation mission completed message. That way all of the XP will go towards that weapon. And yeah, that's ViewPoint Museum, everyone. As I said, it's not my favorite mission. I think the other missions from this week were a lot easier. But yeah, it's not that hard. So anyways, that's all for this video. If you like the video, you can like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next escalation video. So have a great day. See you guys on the next one. Bye bye.